Hello and welcome back to the channel. I am Mad Capper. This is a video on Godforge. It's been a spell since I've done a video, but I was watching today's podcast, or at least the release podcast today. And first off, I mean, an all-star lineup. It's got Brad. It's got Simon. It's got Sham. Does Sham have is his in-game name the same? Because the rest, and the fourth one has got is Ash, who's Tim, and Chosen is and Simon is Hell Hades, and Chosen is Brad. Sham. Anyway, probably not important. What is important is they dropped a major news bomb. And also I have a question. I have a question to start off with, and I don't know, did I miss it? Let me know if in the comments down below if you have been following Fateless and you noticed this. What is phase 2? What happened to phase? How come I wasn't on phase 1? We need to start a petition asking the critical questions. Why wasn't Mad Capper in phase 1? I assume phase 2 is going to be the more open beta. If you have multiple, and also if you have multiple, why would you call the alpha? What happened to alpha? Why is alpha testing not a thing anymore? Anyway, this is Fateless's channel. They've been very open and very forthgiving in their information. I gotta say, I watched quite a few. It does look like I've only watched 2. I want you to know it's because I clean my cache every couple of weeks. So that Behind the Voice is really cool. She sings the intro and it's amazing. And I went to her channel and she sings like Amy from the Evanescence. Kills it, just so you know. The combat's looking pretty good. The impact, like the special effects, like Thor's hammer or Odin's fist is what it is. Stuff like that. It's really cool. Watch all these. I don't get to all the podcasts because they're longer, so I don't always get to watch all of them, or I watch them passively and kind of unfortunately miss a lot of them. But I didn't miss any of this one. This podcast had beta news, and like I said, we'll mute it. You don't need to listen to anything on this. I will play one piece of it though, and that's the piece I want to talk about today. So this is the team. Oh, I better move it over. Sorry, Brad, I'm cutting you off. So there's the people that got talking, which is, the 2 co-creators. No big deal. Tim, who is Ash, who is a heavy hitter, I would say, in the space of gacha games, mobile games. He, of course, runs Aftershock Media Group. He also, of course, has Clash with Ash is where he started. He has a Watchers. He has a Raid Shadow Legends. I don't know if there's any other channels out there. I know he did for a while, wanted to kind of have a sort of an interview podcast, my next guest style feature. I thought it was really interesting. Unfortunately, more time and production effort, as according to him, that it was worth, unfortunately, pursuing long term for the views it was getting. But he's been, of course, been in this realm for a long time. So we have 4 pretty big name people here, and thanks to Ash. Thanks to Ash for, by the way, happy birthday to your brother. May he rest in peace. For any of you who didn't see, his brother was, and I don't have the whole story. I don't want to give the story improperly. On his channel, there's of course a post saying happy birthday to his brother, who died, I believe it was 9 years ago. Who was a kind soul with severe autism, and man, happy birthday to him. Well, today's the day. So here's the podcast, and Ash asks a very important question that I'm sure we all would love to ask. And I think, is it right here? Actually, I'm not gonna lie. He asked several good questions.
It's an all right one, but do you keep what you do, or are there bonuses based on how you perform that will carry into the global or the beta or whatever comes?
I gotta turn that up. We gotta turn that up.
Be true. You want to do?
Do you keep? I mean, that's the first question. Hopefully, it's an all right one. But do you keep what you do, or are there bonuses based on how you perform that will carry into the global or the beta or whatever comes next?
So I watched the whole thing to get the proper answer, but I gotta say, there's a big question, right? A lot of people who do these sort of beta testing, they're sort of an open beta, final beta. I know Watcher of Realms, which I did not partake in, had a Forerunner server. That Forerunner server was essentially their beta server, and then when they relaunched globally, it was a brand new server. Others do just, hey, here it is, you get to keep whatever you do. I think Raid was that. In fact, I know Raid was that way. Others, it just depends on the nature of the beta. And in this case, no, but they did hint at getting some kind of unique stuff that's only going to be available to those of you that are part of the, I'm guessing, the Phase 2 beta. I still want to know what happened. What's Phase 1? Why wasn't I on Phase? I assume that it was like snail mail and it got lost because of the tensions at the border, although I guess he's from the UK, so there's no tensions at that border. We're actually pretty friendly, part of the Commonwealth. So he must have sent it to the States and then the tension, so it probably just didn't show up. I'm sure that's what happened with that sticky Phase 1 that nobody seems to have been a part of. I'm sure it was just, maybe it was internal. That's what I'm going to say to myself. I didn't get excluded. It was just internal. Anyway, so so here we are in Phase 2. You can still sign up, and they're talking about rewards and recognition. Now, what I really want to get to is this next one right here.
You're not going to be able to keep anything. It's nice to get some sort of reward or even a token, whatever it may be, for the time that you put in. So I like it. I like it. You'll be able to experience the rest of the game as well, or it will be mainly oriented to just this tower.
No, so with
so he mentioned the tower earlier.
Experience where people can be like, okay, I'm gonna, I've got X number,
right, and similar to the Hades free-to-play chat, even if you're not going to
continue to progress through the tower.
Okay, so here it is, rethinking the beta launch.
Feel like, and I guess what we originally, so I guess we've been having a lot of internal discussions around what do we want the beta, or in reality, it's probably more like an alpha experience to feel like. And I guess what we originally planned was, here's a bunch of elements of the game, and you guys can jump in there. Some of those elements are pretty polished and start to experience what the game's like. So that could be anything from, running the normal level of campaign, start to run some of the early level of dungeons, start to get that kind of like core loop of building your heroes and building teams. So really what we want to get from a beta is, what does the gameplay feel like? Has it got like a good feel to combat? Has it got a good feel to earning these different heroes, leveling them up, experiencing different team combinations, that type of stuff. So that's kind of what we were looking for. And we had some internal discussions this week. And really, this is kind of like dropping half the press, really, because we've got a different idea, which we think is going to be pretty cool. And I want to kind of chat it through with you guys. So we're thinking, why don't we go for more like a community challenge? So ultimately, it's like the same type of things we want to test. We still need to test those things, right? So, everything I've just said there is still really key for us to get feedback on. But
all right, we're going to go to that Phase 2, whatever that Phase 2 is, that hopefully, I'm going to give you some of the key points of this, but I stress upon stress. If there's ever a podcast on Fateless, if you're like, oh, the other ones, except for obviously Mad Cappers, were boring. Mad Cappers was amazing. The rest were kind of ho-hum. But this is the second most important behind the one I was on. The second most important one. You have to watch this one if you're at all interested in Fateless. They drop bomb after bomb. I'm not going to lie to you. And Tim crushes the questions, and you can just see they're just waiting. I'm sure Fiction. Oh my gosh, I'm having problems. Was in the background going, stop, don't give any more away. But whatever, it was a really good podcast. You have to watch it. But I'm gonna give you a couple things from the podcast that I want to talk about. We'll get back to this whole tower concept because I am color me intrigued. See, color me. Don't ask about the shirt. It's a thing. It's a thing. Maybe for another day. Maybe another topic we'll talk about. Here's the Winston box. If you've ever heard of it, especially if you're a bigger dude, stay away. It's I have never been so disappointed in my life. We'll talk about it later. Anyway, so let's get back to Godforge. It looks as if the Phase 2 beta will be in July. They're saying early July. I'm going to say probably mid to late July, because look, you're never going to you're not going to make your number. You're not going to make that hit. What I will say is they did drop a couple of things, like they have all the champions they want to start. They have all the features they want to start. Now it's about polishing each of the individual champions to ensure all the effects and the lighting and everything's fine, which is something that I have said since the beginning. Every time I've looked at it is like, hey, look, their art design, the detail looks good, not great, but they haven't added all the stuff, the HDR, the lighting, the effects, all that stuff. Once that gets in, and you've seen it with some of them as they've been releasing them on their channel, they're starting to look pretty amazing. I still have a little problem with Aphrodite, but the rest looking pretty freaking fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be really good. Here, you know what? I think she looks better. So that's the first thing, right? Beta now looks for July. Yes, I'm still planning on covering the game from the second they let me in, assuming there's no NDA. Or maybe I'm already in phase 1 and I have an NDA and this is Mr. No, I haven't played it yet. I don't know what happened. But as soon as we're allowed to make content on the game and make it public, I will be doing so. It'll be on the formerly known as the Watcher of Realms channel. Here's my plan. Because the second thing they dropped was that they were going to have some kind of community challenge based around some sort of tower type system, similar to the Doom Tower that we know, endless towers that have been other Awake Chaos Era had that sort of thing. But they said, man, maybe it won't be a tower, maybe it'll be a dungeon, maybe it could be a lot of different things. It could just be endless levels that would have a tier system very similar, either 5 or 10 levels or X levels of waves followed by a mini boss. And that mini boss, rather than being part of just being a part of a game mode, will be part of the progression of the beta. So in a normal game, you would open up shards, you get champions based on those champions. Just in this, it would give you a champion, perhaps, or give you some key equipment to help your progression through the next part of the tower. And then they would celebrate through this challenge who could make it to the top and how quickly they could make it there. That's what it sounds like, and I'm excited for that. And I'm going to tell you that I'm going to beta test the crap out of this game. When this game comes out, I'm gonna hopefully I'm gonna play evenings. We'll have to get the wife to join me because I'd like to spend time with her too. But I want to make a running commentary. So rather than making notes, because when I've been in beta tests in the past, either they've been open beta, which is really just an excuse for them to invite a bunch of people to start spending early on the game. But I've also been in closed beta tests where they expect you to give notes. They expect you to break things. They expect you to give them feedback. My feedback will be video based. I'll be able to actually give the feedback. Now, I don't know how exciting that's going to be. I'll do it live when I can on the other channel. When I can't, I'll put up recording of what my goal and plan is, to record every second I play and have all my notes will be audible so that I can just say, hey, here, watch this. There's my notes. And I think that'd be a cool, different way of doing it. Going through, trying to break stuff, trying to compete in this challenge, doing all that stuff. I think that'd be really fun. So that's what I plan to do. That's the two big announcements here. Although I will say there was plenty of other cool nuggets in that podcast. Again, second most important podcast you could possibly watch from Fateless. Only superseded by the podcast I was on. So make sure you check that out and get all the information, get it properly. I'm giving you the cliff notes, but the two big things is their first beta is going to be kind of a curated community challenge to get people to kind of be competitive and to get people involved and having some fun in this as well. And then my goal is, with that, assuming that there won't be any type of embargo, would be to record that for all of you, either through lives or through pre-recorded, where I give my notes as I'm playing the game. If I break something, I say, hey, here's something I broke. I might take a note. This is the timestamp. So if it's something that's like a bug or something critical failure or something that I feel the devs need to know, I can send them, here's a timestamp from this video where the issue is. I think it's a lot easier for them. It's a lot better for them. It's a lot more fun for me because I'm not trying to make the old days. I'd have a notepad and then I'd have to type that notepad out in an email, and that was boring. This will be way much easier. So So that's what's going on. What are you thinking about Godforge? Let me know in the comments down below. It's kind of been 2 years. Have you continued to watch it? Are you interested? What's your thoughts on Godforge? Let me know in the comments down below. But of course, oh, by the way, just so you're aware, DHL is a terrible company. They're a horrific company that have horrific practices. They told me they'd be here between 11 and 1. I was supposed to drive to my mom's place to spend Easter with her today, but I wanted to wait because I thought, oh, I'm leaving at 1 anyway. Let me wait for it. Well, at 2 o'clock, I decided to pull the chute, and I'm going to leave tomorrow morning. And it's now 6 o'clock, still nothing from DHL. 11 to 1, I hit their customer service up. Their customer service is like, well, technically, it can be any time before 9 p.m. Well, technically, you told me 11 to 1. So if it's any time till 9 p.m., don't tell me 11 to 1. You wasted a day of my time. You horrible, and this is not the first time. It won't be the last time. DHL, I would rather send it via like a pigeon. I think a pigeon would be a more accurate, safer, more reliable method of transfer than DHL. That said, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Please be kind, be safe, except for the DHL, and we'll see you in the next video.